What if I told you that somewhere in the vast silence of the California desert, NASA's most powerful antennas suddenly locked onto a signal coming from beyond our solar system, a signal so precise, so deliberate, and so mathematically perfect that every scientist in the control room stopped speaking at the exact same moment. No one moved, no one joked, no one even whispered, because what they were hearing should not have existed. And yet it was there, repeating again and again, through the receivers of humanity's most advanced listening instruments. Stay with me, because what happened after that moment has shaken the world of space science in ways that few people truly understand. If stories about mysterious cosmic visitors, like 3I Atlas, fascinate you, take a second to hit the like button and let the universe know you are paying attention. Every interaction helps bring more people into the search for answers hidden in the stars. Right now, as you watch this, something is unfolding in our solar system that no human civilization has ever experienced before. And it is important to pause and truly think about that. This is not a rediscovered observation from decades ago or an abstract theory discussed in lecture halls. This is a real event happening in real time, somewhere in the dark space between the planets above our heads. It is forcing some of the most brilliant scientists alive to ask questions they never expected to face. At the center of this story is an object known as 3I Atlas, officially recognized as the third confirmed interstellar visitor ever detected entering our solar system. But unlike the previous travelers that quietly passed through our cosmic neighborhood, this one did something completely different. It didn't just drift past, it spoke. And what it seemed to say sent waves of alarm through every major space agency on Earth. To understand how this began, we need to go back to the early hours of October 17, 2025. At that time, NASA's Deep Space Network, spread across the desert landscapes of California, was performing routine monitoring operations. These enormous antennas constantly listen to spacecraft scattered across billions of miles. They communicate with probes like Voyager, humanity's most distant explorer, still transmitting faint signals from the edge of interstellar space. These instruments represent the most sensitive listening technology humans have ever created. Yet on that quiet October morning, they detected something they were never designed to hear. The signal that appeared on their monitors was not static. It was not background radiation. It was not the random hiss that normally fills the universe. Instead, the antennas recorded a structured electromagnetic pulse, repeating with astonishing accuracy every 47 minutes. The origin of the signal traced directly back to the interstellar object 3I Atlas. Now pause for a moment and focus on one word repeating, every 47 minutes without fail. Nature rarely behaves with that level of precision. Cosmic events are chaotic. Radiation bursts fluctuate, stars flare unpredictably, and natural signals drift or weaken over time. But this transmission was different. Each cycle lasted exactly 11.3 seconds. Not 11 seconds, not 12. 11.3 seconds with such consistent timing that engineers recalibrated their equipment multiple times just to confirm the data was real. Then the situation grew even stranger. Over a span of just 5 hours, the strength of the signal increased by more than 300%. Something within the object appeared to be powering up. Something inside that silent traveler from another star system was becoming more active. Before we go further, there is one detail that changes everything about this discovery. The signal was being transmitted at a frequency of 1.42 gigahertz. If that number sounds ordinary, let me explain why it immediately captured the attention of every scientist involved. That exact frequency corresponds to the natural emission of hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe. Astronomers refer to this region of the electromagnetic spectrum as the water hole. It is considered one of the quietest and most logical communication bands in space. Why does that matter? Because hydrogen exists everywhere. It fills stars, galaxies, and the enormous clouds of gas drifting between them. Any civilization advanced enough to study the cosmos would recognize hydrogen's signature immediately. It is the one universal reference point that every species capable of astronomy would know. So if an intelligent civilization wanted to send a signal that could be recognized across the galaxy, many scientists believe they would choose this exact frequency. And that is precisely where the transmission from 3I Atlas was appearing. In other words, it wasn't just broadcasting energy randomly into space, it was transmitting on the one channel the entire universe understands. As analysts studied the signal more closely, they discovered that the 11-second pulse was not simple. Hidden within it were additional patterns repeating every 1.7 seconds. Within those patterns were even faster fluctuations occurring in fractions of a second, layers of structured information stacked inside each other like nested puzzles. NASA quickly assembled teams of specialists to investigate. Cryptographers, radio engineers, artificial intelligence researchers, and communication experts began analyzing the signal. Many of these individuals normally work on classified technologies designed to decode complex transmissions. After comparing the signal with every known natural source, pulsars, magnetars, quasars, solar interference, plasma distortions, the results produced a conclusion that stunned the entire group. The probability that the signal had an artificial origin exceeded 99.7%. That number echoed through NASA's control rooms like a quiet shockwave. It meant the transmission was almost certainly not produced by any natural phenomenon known to science, and the object sending it had just arrived from interstellar space. For the first time, the possibility emerged that something from another star system was deliberately trying to communicate with us. 3 days later, events took an even more unsettling turn, and the situation would change in a way no one inside NASA had been prepared for. 3 days after that first extraordinary detection, the situation surrounding 3I Atlas changed in a way that immediately caught the attention of everyone monitoring the object. On the evening of October 20th, just after 11:15 p.m. Eastern Time, the steady repeating signal that scientists had been observing suddenly transformed. Until that moment, the transmission had behaved like a wide cosmic broadcast, spreading energy outward across space in every direction. But for 8 minutes and 24 seconds, the signal did something entirely different. It collapsed into a narrow, concentrated beam. That distinction may sound subtle, but in astrophysics it means everything. Natural radio emissions do not focus themselves into narrow streams. They scatter outward, spreading energy across space the way ripples expand across the surface of water. Concentrating a radio signal into a precise beam across billions of kilometers requires deliberate engineering. And that is exactly what the data appeared to show. Additional confirmation came from the Arecibo Legacy Observatory in Puerto Rico, which had been quickly reactivated to assist in monitoring 3I Atlas. Its instruments confirmed the same astonishing detail. The beam was not drifting across the sky. It was not scanning randomly. It was fixed, locked on a single point in space. Earth. Engineers at several facilities repeated the calculations again and again, checking the orientation of the object, the direction of the beam, and Earth's position within the solar system. Every time the numbers aligned with the same conclusion. The probability that this alignment occurred by coincidence was statistically impossible. Something had aimed directly at our planet, and there was another detail that made the situation even more unsettling. The moment this focused transmission occurred happened exactly 9 days before 3I Atlas was predicted to pass behind the Sun, entering a period of nearly 3 weeks when the glare of solar light would make it completely invisible to every telescope on Earth, almost as if the object had chosen to send its signal just before disappearing from view. Scientists began asking difficult questions. Was it a greeting? Was it a warning? Or was it something else entirely, perhaps the beginning of a countdown? By the morning of October 21st, the atmosphere inside NASA had changed completely. What had started as scientific curiosity now carried a sense of tension that was difficult to describe. The usual chatter inside mission control rooms faded. Screens that once displayed routine telemetry suddenly showed a word that had never appeared before in connection with an astronomical discovery. Restricted. Under normal circumstances, a discovery of this magnitude would trigger immediate public announcements. Scientists would publish papers, give interviews, and share updates on social media. That is exactly what happened when gravitational waves were first detected and when the first image of a black hole was released. But this time, something unusual happened. Nothing was announced. No press releases, no public statements, no conference briefings. Every major space agency seemed to fall silent at the same time. Inside NASA, information about something called the Discovery Protocol began circulating. This was a classified framework developed years earlier to manage potential evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence. According to internal sources, the protocol followed several steps: verify the data internally, notify government authorities, and enforce a temporary communication blackout before releasing information publicly. Officially, the blackout period lasts 72 hours. Its purpose is to prevent misinformation and ensure the scientific data is reliable before it reaches the public. But in this case, those 72 hours passed. Then another day passed. Then another. 5 full days went by without a single public statement from NASA, the European Space Agency, China's Space Administration, or the International Astronomical Union. For the first time in modern history, the global astronomical community appeared to be completely silent. Eventually, one scientist broke that silence: astrophysicist Avi Loeb, director of the Galileo project at Harvard University and one of the leading researchers studying possible extraterrestrial technology, published a short statement that quickly spread through scientific circles. His words were direct: "We are witnessing institutional paralysis in the face of the extraordinary. This is not how science behaves. This is how fear behaves." The statement immediately raised an uncomfortable question. What could possibly cause every major scientific institution on Earth to hesitate at the same time? Because caution usually involves careful communication. Scientists typically release partial findings while continuing to study the data. But this situation looked different. This looked like hesitation. While the public heard nothing, researchers studying 3I Atlas continued examining its physical properties, and what they found only deepened the mystery. The object did not behave like any known comet or asteroid. Measurements suggested that it was hollow. Its internal density was far lower than expected for a body of its size. When it passed near Mars, its gravitational influence was barely detectable, indicating that the object was much lighter than its dimensions suggested. Objects that large and that hollow do not naturally form from planetary debris. Even more puzzling, the object appeared to slow down as it entered the solar system. Under normal circumstances, gravity from the sun accelerates incoming comets and asteroids. Deceleration requires some form of propulsion working against that gravitational pull. Then there was the trajectory. Instead of crossing the planetary plane at a steep angle, as most interstellar objects would, 3I Atlas traveled almost parallel to the ecliptic, the flat disk where the planets orbit. That path suggested careful alignment rather than random entry. Each anomaly by itself might have a natural explanation, but together they formed a pattern that many scientists found increasingly difficult to ignore. And as October 29th approached, something within the signal itself began to change again. As the days passed, and 3I Atlas moved deeper into the inner solar system, scientists studying the transmission noticed something unusual happening inside the signal itself. Instead of fading as the object approached the sun, the signal began to compress. Each burst of information grew shorter, faster, and far more complex than the one before it, as though the transmission was building toward a final message. The hydrogen frequency signal, that had originally carried simple pulses, now contained layered harmonic tones. Some researchers described the patterns as almost musical, while others called them mathematical structures hidden inside waves of energy. Natural cosmic phenomena do not produce harmonic modulation like that. To many observers, it looked less like random radiation and more like a carefully organized communication system preparing to deliver something important before the object vanished behind the sun. Then another discovery added to the growing mystery. Engineers at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory detected a small but unmistakable change in the object's motion. 3I Atlas was slowing down again. The change was subtle, only a fraction of a kilometer per second, but it was enough to confirm that the object was deliberately resisting the sun's gravitational pull. Meanwhile, telescopes located in Chile, Hawaii, and Spain captured brief flashes of light reflecting from the object's surface. At first, researchers assumed they were ordinary glints from irregular shapes. But after studying the footage frame by frame, a pattern emerged. The flashes formed triangular shapes that rotated together in perfect synchronization. Instead of random reflections, the lights appeared in sequences, almost like symbols displayed across the surface of the object. One physicist studying both the signal data and the visual patterns made a comment that quickly spread through the research community. When geometry, symmetry, and modulation appear together in deep space, you are not observing a rock, you are observing intent. Further analysis revealed something even stranger. When the triangular patterns were mapped and compared with the signal's internal timing, the shapes seemed to form three overlapping spirals. Some researchers said the structure resembled diagrams used to represent magnetic fields. Others believed it looked similar to a DNA double helix, but inverted, as though the fundamental blueprint of life had been rewritten using geometric patterns in space. No one could say with certainty what the shapes meant, but their presence strengthened the growing suspicion that 3I Atlas was not a natural object at all. Then, on October 29th, the object finally moved behind the sun. At that moment, the signal stopped. Every telescope monitoring the object lost visibility as solar glare overwhelmed their instruments. The mysterious visitor disappeared from observation exactly as predicted, leaving scientists around the world staring at silent screens. And that silence created a question humanity had never faced before. What should we do next? For the first time in recorded history, researchers were confronted with the possibility that an intelligent creation from another star system had entered our solar system, transmitted a structured signal directly toward Earth, displayed patterns across its surface, and then vanished from view. Some scientists argued that the safest option was to continue observing and gather more information once the object reappeared from behind the sun. Others believed humanity should attempt a response, because if the signal truly was intentional, then the creators of 3I Atlas might already be studying us, watching how we react, how we communicate, and how we handle the discovery that we may not be alone. In that sense, the object might not simply be a messenger, it might be a test of curiosity, intelligence, patience, and cooperation. A way to observe whether humanity is ready to participate in a conversation that could change our understanding of the universe forever. For now, the truth remains hidden somewhere in the darkness between the planets. But one thing is clear. The universe did not just send a visitor, it sent a question, one wrapped inside an object, inside a signal, inside a mystery, that our generation may be the first to confront. And that question is simple, even if the answer is not. What will humanity do when it can no longer pretend it is alone? The countdown may already be underway, and somewhere beyond the sun's glare, something ancient and patient could be waiting to see how we respond. If this story sparked your curiosity, and you want to explore more incredible cosmic mysteries like this one, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us continue uncovering the secrets of the universe together, and the next discovery might be even more astonishing.